Hey, this is Dick Grayson. Sorry I didn't answer your call. I'm busy assaulting federal officers. Leave a message and I will return your call in 7 years when I get out of prison. Being a Titan isn't about being perfect. Let's play Prison Break. Can we play a vegan make-believe game at least? DC's Titans Season 2, Episode 10, Fallen. And I do mean Fallen. The AfterBuzz After Show starts right now.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
You know what it is? This is probably the most aptly titled Titans episode. Fallen. Yeah. Fallen. And it's a double, triple, quadruple entendre with memes that we don't even understand the repercussions of at this time.
Yes. Fallen plot, fallen direction.
Fallen show.
Yeah, like there's so much.
Falling down the stairs.
Character arc.
Falling down the jumping of the shark. Like, what are we doing right now, guys? What are we understanding? I'll tell you what we're doing. We're going to be talking all this DC Titans Season 2, Episode 10, Fallen. We have the panel we are fans, not just fans. Dare I say super fans. Fans that care. Fans that believe. Fans that truly love. So when we talk, you should walk. Walk to your screens. Comment below. Let us know what you're thinking. Because I'm the host with the most. My name is Tehran. If you don't know me, then you don't know Titans. And I'm joined by an illustrious panel of super fans as well. All the way to my left's left, Jeffrey K. Chauncey Robinson Williams V, who's on all my emails, is in the building.
And you always...
Thank you so much.
And you always get the name correct every time.
Every time. I feel you have a lot of names. What is the proper name?
You said it. Jeffrey K. Williams, the third, the fourth, and sometimes the fifth.
Exactly. That's how I feel. You take the roles of all of them. And next to him, to his right, but to my left, the queen
Glad we got
of the Rotten Tomatoes. Chauncey K. Robinson.
Hey, everyone.
The blonde bombshell is in the building.
Thank you.
She's queen of all
I like
Rotten
this class.
Tomatoes.
Yes, we're clapping for you. We're applauding.
You got to clap. I got to peek
because this is the time that all of us will be on board with your hate and criticism. So this is the one time where all of us will be as bitter as broken up Chauncey. And that's how we're going to feel. We are talking this episode of DC's Titans Season 2, Episode 10, Fallen. We're going to be breaking it down as thus. Dick's in prison, and so are all of us. Prison break. Connors goes back in. So Connor, yeah. Are we calling him Subject 13 yet? Okay.
Yeah.
Gar goes with him. Donna's on a mission. Raven. And the special segment, because at this one, I believe we can call her Raven. This is the one where she became Raven. When a gargoyle kills someone's father or because we don't know what's going on, or you're a Raven now. You're no longer Rachel. And of course, we have our special segment, That Was Stupid AF. What's the name of that segment?
That wasn't very smart.
Well, either way, tomato. News and gossip. You're going to want to stay tuned. Chauncey has this juicy piece of gossip she cannot wait to share with you. And of course, our on-point Chauncey's slightly vague predictions, as always, and much more. But what were your overall thoughts? I don't think we need to actually guess. What were your overall thoughts on this episode of DC's Titans Season 2, Episode 10, Fallen?
Surprisingly, I liked a lot of it. I liked the storyline with Dick Grayson in jail. I thought it brought something new to him. We actually saw him become a reluctant hero, even though he wanted to kind of give that all away, even though he told the guard that he was not going to be helping anyone. I like that storyline. I like seeing Gar fight. Because for the longest I've been preaching on here, can he do something? Can he lead? So I got to see a little bit of that. There were some great moments in there. Even Rachel starting to have her own storyline a little bit. There were great moments, but there was also huge falls like we just said. But my biggest one is, like my shirt says, Real Monster. Who is the real monster for this season? Because I don't know.
Yeah,
well, we might get to that in gossip and news. I think so.
Yeah, well, I think for myself, I thought I agree with Jeff. I think there were some very solid highlights. I was very bored with the prison thing with Dick. I was very disappointed that he wasn't possessed. I thought that would have been a better plot line than him actually choosing. This guy just might well walk and flog himself, like Catholicism or something, like always atoning for his sins, these imaginary sins. And I just get tired of how much it's dominated this season. And I thought the stuff with Rachel was solid enough. I feel like This isn't an episode.
Speedy and fast to an extreme that is improbable, where you get convicted and get sentenced to 7 years without anyone realizing, hey, isn't Dick Grayson Bruce Wayne's ward? If nothing else, forget the fact that he doesn't cover his face every time he fights crime. The fact that he is a billionaire's son, someone should have been like, hey, I know you. Click, click, click. Right?
Yeah.
Just something.
Prior
Paris Hilton goes
detector,
to jail,
like-
we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Dude was a prior detective, he was a police officer. How do you just go through that quick? And then 7 years just seemed like too aggressive for me. I was
Yeah.
like,
No. 7 years for assaulting federal officers, I can understand. However, with no priors, you're a detective. There's a lot to
Yep.
and no one else noticing. There is no judicial review, no judicial process, no judge, no sentencing. We're gonna know from the comments below. Is this stooped in actual mythology? Please let us know. As far as Rachel's storyline, that was actually one of the very solid ones because something happened. However, still, also, we have no idea why it's happening. And finally, Donna, do you not know how to go knock on a door? Like, check. Like, well, I don't understand. Dick, your phone's still ringing, but you're in jail. I don't think that's how phones work. I'm going to leave you 210 messages and not actually think of all the other means that I, part of a superhero group, am able to find you.
Yeah,
I
call
just don't
Corey.
like
I mean, she
that.
called Corey episodes ago, and suddenly she doesn't have her number.
Watching
You
it
know?
happen, I felt that there was an episode 9.5 that we missed. We
Yeah.
missed an entire episode.
There were a lot of holes in it. I mean, not even holes necessarily, just things that they willfully hope that you didn't notice. Like, just really a big suspension of disbelief. Like you said, the whole thing of Dick Grayson getting arrested and it not being all over the news that Bruce Wayne's ward is going away 7 years without parole for assaulting officers. And the
Out of
fact-
nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And the fact that Donna, and that Bruce wouldn't be reaching out to him and being like, hey, what's going on? Do you want me to get you out? Can I get you some lawyers? Like, we didn't see any of that. But we had time for a Bruce hallucination of him dancing on stage and all this stuff, but no time for him actually calling
We didn't
him.
have time for Trigon.
Yeah.
no.
Because this was going to be a fast action, fast, fun-packed season, and now we've slowed down to a crawl, if nothing else. And I do want to thank the episode for one thing, and I will say this: Labyrinth's chameleons, man, that's a great fact to know. That is a great factor that I know that this creature lives only for 5 months, long enough to birth the next generation, and then dies, and that entire generation is raised without any parental supervision. That's an amazing tidbit of information. I will win Jeopardy now one day because of this. It will be the final question, and I will bet it all, and I will know. Other than that, I did not learn anything else about the Titans. Let's talk Dick's in prison. What were your thoughts on Dick being introduced to his new cellmates?
I liked it. Like I said earlier, I thought it was a cool change of pace for him because he was kind of getting bland. He kind of getting boring for me, playing the brooding role. And he kind of did that to an extent, but you can kind of see with the realness of their situation, his cellmates, he kind of opened up and he was that hope for them, even though it was reluctant because he had to see
He
a
was
death.
their Alusura.
Exactly. He was that, whatever that is. And it came with a death and everything. So it came with after a couple of times, but I like seeing it like that. I think it was a change of pace, and it was better than what we've seen in the last couple episodes with him.
Jeff K. Williams V, you are forever the optimist. Chauncey K. Robinson.
I didn't have it. I didn't like it. I didn't like this plot line. I just thought, once again, we have this whole thing where he has to be brooding, and he did keep brooding. I mean, Brenton, he's like a great actor because I think with any other actor, I probably would have been so tired of this character by now. But he does add certain layers of nuance here and there. But they're not giving him much in terms of. I think we need to get to Nightwing. I think we need to get to Nightwing. I think we need to have him get a suit. He needs to have more of a purpose than atoning for his sins. And I think I like the fact that they went against stereotype that the Latino men he was in prison with were like thugs or gangsters or something, but they were like seeking asylum from where they were. And that's real world stuff. So I appreciated that. But then they counter that with the white savior sort of deal of Dick having to get them out of prison, and he sacrificed himself once again for these people to. It helped him get to the point of saying, "I still want to save people," so that's fine. But I just thought, did we need this arc for this? It just seems so out of.
They've been in jail for all this time, and they needed Dick Grayson.
Yeah, and I just it took this moment for the white guy to come into, not to make it completely racial. I just didn't care for the optics.
You have to
of
have
it.
Noticed it.
Yeah.
That's a very noticeable concept regardless. It's not something where it's like, oh, we're being too woke or not woke enough, whatever it is. You cannot help but notice things when they happen.
Yeah,
you can't.
I agree with you 100% but the main character in this show is white. So it's not like saying like he's a white savior.
However, the main storyline in this show, this was unnecessary.
Yes.
This was created. This is not from the comics. This is not a storyline that needed to happen. It has nothing, unless these guys are all working for Deathstroke. This was a very pointless storyline in which they took an opportunity to create this and used it on the white savior trope. I'm so sorry. It was very unnecessary.
Yeah. I think they also could have made it so, in the comics, it's actually, who we didn't see this episode, Corey, that helps him become Nightwing. And it's just like now it's some random people in a cell. Like, I don't understand why he needed to go all the way to prison to find his purpose. Like, this is like a whole second season of this thing. That was supposed to happen in the first season.
And also, why are we getting Dick Grayson's fingerprints on file? This is Dick Grayson Nightwing. Like, the one thing we shouldn't have is records of superheroes. That's like kind of the nominal rule. The main the main thing about being a superhero. Even Superman puts glasses on not to be recognized. Like, he does the least you can do to hide an identity, to protect the ones he loves. And yet Dick Grayson constantly goes out of his way to not do so. So I'm not a fan of the prison storyline. I'm so sorry. The prison storyline seemed forced. It seemed out of place. It seemed like it had zero purpose. It did not. I hated brooding Dick Grayson, and yet I long for brood. It's like you don't know what you've got till it's gone. You know, this is how it works. It's almost as if I'm looking for an abusive boyfriend. Like, why is this the choice? Why don't I have good choices?
Yeah.
Why don't I have good choices? Why can't I be happy with the character of Dick Grayson? Because they did redeem him as a character coming out of the first season. If you remember, in the beginning, we also weren't fans of Dick Grayson. And then slowly, we were like, wow, we love this character.
Yep.
And by the end of season 1, we were in love with him again. And now we're falling out of love with him. Dick, I think we should see other people.
He started the season very optimistic. Even at the end of season 1, he took the kids in the car, said goodbye to Corey, and was just like, yeah, we're going to go on a road trip. We're going to go to San Francisco. It was a whole new beginning. And then this Deathstroke thing happened, and it was like a complete, I don't want to call it retcon, because I'm not going to say like they totally erased stuff. I'm saying that they contrived certain things to get back, to set his character back for some reason. And I'm not sure if it landed as well as it could have.
Yeah, I get and I see you guys' points. I just think that the story, for what it was good. I think, obviously, it looks bad because he was that savior for them, but this is also his storyline, so they were just there. It was a retcon for him becoming Nightwing, but I think it worked. It was cool. It was something, because they didn't have to do it. They didn't have to bring his Hispanic people in this show. They could have just did it the original way. But I think it's a way to show.
What was the original way? If you remember,
you said it was with
Starfire.
Starfire,
Corey,
right?
and one of the Corey encourages him and gives him inspiration.
Isn't about diversity hiring or firing. This is about storyline, plot, and pushing along storyline regarding a protagonist that we all want to like. However, they're making it very difficult to do so, especially when we have a bar that's so high and
for a team to split up and everyone completely agreeing. Someone's saying there's at least 50 storylines going on right now, and I can't follow a single one of them. Stop prolonging Nightwing already, from Eric James, and Ivan Soto is just he's on a roll right now, y'all.
That's how it works. That is how it works. Rolling. We love rolling, and we love rolling with all of you. Thank you so much for your comments. comments below. We keep this chat live. We keep it going. Chauncey and Jeffrey over there also have the chat up, so they will be responding as well. And, of course, our man in the booth, Ryan Nielsen, the producer with the reducer. Nothing really rhymes with producer. I'm so sorry. However, he's there. You all know that you are, if not as much, more so a part of this panel as all of us.
Yeah, whether it's through comments, through the live chat where we're talking to you, can't even speak. Whether we're the live chat or the comments, we love talking to you guys. We love having you guys interact with us and continue to do it, whether it's through iTunes or Spotify. Remember to subscribe.
Utilize diversity. Also, a lot of the writers are people of color, so they are very aware of things. However, this particular storyline, I'd love to see who the writer was. They used a gang that was no longer MS-13, is Corto Martes. Corto Martes, we used to be a part of the Corto Martes, but we wanted out. And when we got out, SA, you know what happened? They said they would muerto asito. Like, okay, so what were our thoughts on the Prison Break?
The one part that I was kind of zoning out during this part, but the one part was when that guy got shanked. Like, that's when I woke up a little bit. I was like, whoa, like, this is real, you know? Like, I mean, it got back to it's once again reminding you that this is a bit of a grittier show. And, I mean, like we were saying, one of the things, like, they didn't fall into the stereotype of, you know, they're not necessarily gang members, but they were trying to flee a political asylum almost, you know, and I could appreciate that. But I also thought it clearly wasn't well thought out if they needed, you know, Grayson to come around to eventually help them get it.
Well, a problem I had with this prisoner of their principals idea that they showed us was the fact that the guard thought throwing Dick Grayson in the prison cell with these three was going to show him. And yet they were the nicest, most wonderful group of people.
Well, clearly the cop was racist.
They were offering him a tortilla. They made it a little racist, however, in their demeanor. However, this group was, let's be very honest, for a prison group, they were just loners. They weren't specifically a violent group of people at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the storyline is they wanted out because they didn't want to get deported because they wanted political asylum.
Which was very much, it's very relevant to today's, you know, news and political terrain, which makes sense.
And I appreciate that storyline.
Sure, because it does make them all seem like rapists and criminals like we asked, because they are in jail, which they did not need to be. They could have simply just been working.
Yeah, I mean, to go along with that, I do appreciate the storyline. But with the jail, with the them leaving, he said multiple times not to do it. So it kind of, the jail cell guy dying, it kind of made sense. It kind of, like, he warned him a couple times, hey, this isn't smart, don't do it. So it kind of made sense why he died and then why he was a savior in this sense. I just thought it was cool. I think, unfortunately, my bar is lowered because we haven't seen a lot of any of the big bads. We haven't seen him like fight in general. For Dick Grayson, he's kind of been just one-dimensional.
He does keep getting beat up a lot for someone who is Robin and turning into Nightwing.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
does he not know how to duck? Maybe he shouldn't have been Robin. He should have been Duck. We should have been like, wrong bird, buddy. Duck. How about that?
I think I just wanted to see him do something different. And that's what it was. And it might have been the lower bar that I'm set because that's what we've been given so far. But I wanted to see something different. That's what I did. And hopefully this leads to Nightwing because I need it.
Well, the prison break does go awry, at least for Dick. Dick is beaten to a pulp, and now he's worse off than he was. Why do you think he kept insisting that he was not going to help the guard in any way? And the guard went out of his way to try to help Dick several times.
I think he really feels like he doesn't want to help anyone and he just deserves to be in there. I think it was very reluctant that he helped these people just because their friend died and because his cellmate died. But he meant that, and he was just reluctant to help anybody because he doesn't think he deserves to, and he doesn't think he's a hero.
Well, I think also Dick's not a narc necessarily. Like, he does have a thing about, you know, uplifting, and the reason why he wanted to be a detective when he left Bruce was to still help people out. But even in that sense, I think his idea was that he wasn't going into prison judging the population, the prison population, enough to be like, oh, I'm going to be undercover and just like rat on these people I don't know. I do think one of the things we've seen despite Dick's broodingness is that he does have a certain level of integrity when it comes to, you know, how he functions, you know, which is why stuff is able to eat at him. If with anyone else, if they didn't have the level of integrity that he has, they wouldn't be as affected as he clearly is all the time with brooding, with self-sacrificing. I mean, he wanted to kill himself and sacrifice himself to Deathstroke just a couple episodes ago when Corey saved him, and now he's like put himself in prison. He's been trying to sacrifice himself this whole season.
Somebody kill him already.
Right,
So
something.
the concept is he's possibly punishing himself for the Jericho death and giving himself what is a form of sentence, a prison sentence, to atone for that death. At least that's where the storyline seems to be driving us. We are not exactly sure. I do think that Dick Grayson has a natural, innate sense of justice and wants to help people. And that's something you cannot change because it is his nature. And I'm not sure if I would say he's not a narc. However, what I would say is at this time, he is extremely difficult with whatever it is that he is trying to be. Connor, on the other hand, is difficult in a different way, an entirely different way. Connor has an immaturity when it comes to things and tries to Dick Grayson himself, as in he assaulted police officers as well. Now he's on the run, so he's not trying to go back in. They find him. He tries to get rid of the dog and break away from everything he knows. How do we feel about this Connor storyline?
I just don't care. Like, to be honest, like they gave us a 1 episode backstory. They gave, like, he's been in the naive stage or whatever you want to call it right now. He went away, did some bad stuff, and then Garden go after follow him. It's just like he wanted to go back or just accepted going back without a fight. I just don't see why I care. I don't know what they're gonna do to him. I don't know why. What's next? Like, why do I care? I'm more worried that Gar's in like captivity than Superboy.
Yeah, I actually think Connor's plot line is for Beast Boy, actually. I think this was an inadvertent way for the writers to be able to give Gar something to do. So because of that, I don't necessarily look at it as Connor's plot line or arc, because he's like a month old overall, and like there's a lot more growth that he needs to do for me to be, like Jeff says, for me to be completely invested. But I didn't dislike it as hard. Like, I enjoyed the bit with Mercy and how she was like kind of a soccer mom, but also like this evil woman who works for Lex at the same time. Her playing on, I like the Doom Patrol reference. I'm a little confused about what version of Doom Patrol they do in this universe, because it's kind of different from the one we know, the great show Doom Patrol. So I'm thinking it's a different universe the way they were talking about it.
Because we had the Titans Doom Patrol, and then we actually got the show Doom Patrol, and they seem to
very
diverge.
different. Yeah.
As far as storyline and framing.
Yeah, exactly. And also with Niles, it's a totally different actor as well. So it's, I like that, and I think I appreciated this plot line for Gar. You know, his whole idea of telling Mercy, like, I just want to be a Titan. Like, Gar is such the backbone of, like, the spirit of, like, at times we, like, teasingly call him a fanboy, but I appreciate the fact that no matter what, he believes in the superhero cause. Something that Dick, you know, struggles with, his faith of the superhero, and others kind of reluctantly, you know, throw off or whatnot. But Gar is very much like, there's a purpose for us in this world, being Titans.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That was the only saving grace for that whole scene, the whole storyline for me, was Gar fighting. You can actually see him, like, fighting without being a tiger, and then him going into that as well. So I loved him. I love him being a fanboy. I love him fighting. We're seeing more of him and kind of growing up. That was the only thing that was good about that whole storyline for me.
I am going to completely disagree with Chauncey K.
Of
Robinson.
course.
However, I have no reason to do so. However, I want to go on record and say that I completely disagree with you.
All right, thank you for
I don't
that.
have a single point to make that counteracts anything you said. However, I completely disagree with Chauncey K. Robinson.
Let the record state.
Let's talk about Gar. And I liked what Jeff said regarding the fact that this might be a plot to get Gar involved. Chauncey brought this up and expressed this even further, where this gives him something to do.
Yeah.
So, how is Gar's character developing as we are watching him as a Titan?
I think he's feeling more home in being what Titans are.
Gar something to do, bringing it home. But I think what it's showing is that he's emerging as his own kind of leader. I just wish that we would see a bit more of his powers, you know? And I think it did touch upon a little bit what Mercy said to him, was that no one listens to you. And we were seeing that throughout this season, right? Not necessarily that no one's listening to him, but that he was kind of an afterthought, for a lot of the characters. I mean, Rachel just kind of unceremoniously left him, and they were like supposed to be, I don't know, romance or something. And it's just like
also,
she bounced.
He hasn't brought up once, hey, I hope Rachel's okay.
Yeah, he hasn't called her. She bounced. She hasn't called him. There's just it just goes back to so many weird suspension of disbeliefs based off of what they've built us up to. And then there's been an expectancy for us to kind of overlook it a little bit, which has been a little bit of a detriment. Not completely, but a little bit of a detriment in terms of just where these characters are.
It's our fault. It's our fault when we let the Trigon thing go. Once we let the Trigon thing go, they had no respect for us. They had no respect for us as an audience. It's kind of like when you watch a movie like Jurassic Park and the Tyrannosaurus Rex makes all the noise in the world, but every time it's about to be suspenseful, he sneaks up like a ninja and no one says, hey, weren't you making a lot of noise 2 seconds ago? We did it to ourselves. We did this to ourselves the way Connor did it to himself when he goes back in. And Gar is now reluctantly a prisoner in this captivity. How do we feel about Gar, and what do we think is going to happen with that storyline?
I think towards the end, they did tease that he's going to be leaving, correct?
Yes.
They teased it.
Yeah, so
but I don't know with the collar around his neck.
Exactly.
I mean, usually when they want you to leave, they don't put a restraining collar that takes away your powers, is what I think, around your neck. That's just I'm not sure. I've also never been captured by these specific group of people.
Or worn a collar.
It's the easy assumption to say that he's going to be...
You don't know my life. You don't know what I do after dark. You don't know what I get down.
It's easy to say that he's going to be tailed or have a tracker on him. But I think that this might be a way for them to add more powers to him. Because like, are you going to fix me too? It's like, no, I'm not going to fix you. But there's could be a way to like, he can change into other animals now. So I'm hoping maybe they do something that can interact that.
Maybe he'll change into an interesting storyline.
Maybe.
What powers though? Like what? Like, he can already turn to what? They're going to shoot lasers out his eyes?
No. He can change into other animals.
Yes, but I'm saying, like, are you saying that Mercy and them are going to maybe give that to him?
Or somehow help them
or help him expand on his powers. Right. I'm hoping something happens with Gar.
I think she bugged him.
Donna, on the other hand, is on a mission. Donna is all over town looking for. She lost something. What was it she lost? What did she lose? She lost something. She lost her watch. No, her purse. No, she lost a human being that she was in charge of. A 16-year-old girl named Rachel, who, by the way, last season was kidnapped by a satanic cult. So maybe you should be a little more worried for this child and their safety. Never mind that this person also has a form of godlike power. I understand, but sounds like a recipe for trouble. And we see that she does get into some trouble. What did you both think about Donna and her mission?
I thought, like I said, in this particular case, I think she should maybe stick to photography because she just wasn't being a very good detective in terms of she kept calling Dick. She couldn't get in contact with Dick. And suddenly she seemed to have forgotten everyone else's number. She finally goes to the tower and she sees, okay, everything's ruined. She finds the body that she thinks is connected to Rachel. So she's sort of putting the pieces together, but it was also...
Had she, by the way, gone to the tower like 5 minutes before, she could have helped everyone.
Yeah, I don't know whether to blame her as the character for the shortcoming or just that the writing of it needed her to do these things so that it could get to where it was. Because, I feel like she's been shown to be a little bit more capable than that previously. Because in the beginning of the season, we saw her and Corey teaming up to take on... what was that? The glitter woman that they had. They were tracking people. Donna had a whole van everything. And so they were doing investigations
that was actually their job. Yeah, just to let you know, that was Donna's occupation. And yet she was unable to do so at this moment.
And then we get to this point. Once again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the other characters where like things are being, I feel like things are being done for the plot and not necessarily keeping in the consistency with characterization.
To be fair, when it comes to calling Dick, Donna does have Sprint, and maybe it just didn't go through. Jeff?
With her storyline, I feel like they continuously make her worse and worse. In the fact that, like, she can't do anything now. Like, she can't be her own detective like she should be. She can't even hold her own when she's fighting Deathstroke. it just like continuously adds on to like she's not as strong of a character as she should be, which is frustrating to watch. I just didn't understand. Like, she's calling all the Dick Grayson, just run after her. She just walked outside the car. I know she had the stuff around her. Once that goes away, run after her.
By the way,
then go to
you would think she would be so eager. Dick Grayson, if he was available, would be eager to answer the call of the people who basically broke his heart yesterday. So he would be like, hey, Donna, are you good? I can help. I can do whatever. Yeah. No, she was my cousin. I just met her on Facebook. I don't even know her. I don't love her, babe. It's you. Like something. He could have said something. What, too personal? So the concept was, I felt that maybe you all noticed that Donna was not as inept as she should be.
Yeah.
And it had
At
nothing
all.
to do with the character. It has a lot to do with the writing, because in this lackluster writing, we can't build a character to be one thing and then all of a sudden change them to be something completely different or something else.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's going with the plot line. I think they need to get to point B, and they've set it up so far that they didn't know how to get there necessarily. So they need certain characters to do things that they haven't done before, but it's like, well, who else is going to do it?
And then have shorter seasons. If this is going to be the case, have a shorter season,
Or
even
less.
still, because all of this frill is not doing anything for anyone, especially when you already have a short season.
Or less heroes, because there's way too many storylines. It's just
Well,
they're just wasting
all
it.
the storylines are unnecessary when you realize there aren't that many heroes because they're supposed to be a team. And yet someone in our chat specifically stated, you can't feel anything about a breakup, or you can't have a breakup if you've never had a team to begin with. And we haven't seen a team, either Team A, the old Titans, or Team B, the new Titans. No one has made it. And by the way, what happened to Jason Todd? Let's talk about Rachel. Rachel has her own storyline, and she is at a homeless shelter, and she is eating, and she is on her own mission, but we aren't very aware of what it is. What did either of you think about Rachel and her eating habits?
I don't know where they were going. I mean, did she have? I mean, I'm okay. I'm gonna give her space because it was just like with season 1 where she did certain things, and I was just like, she's young and she hasn't really thought a lot of stuff through. She's going with emotion. She's lost right now. So she did some nice stuff. I did think it was really cool that she made the gargoyle come to life. I think
that was great. Unnecessary, but great.
But I think it also shows just how powerful she is. We've gotten glimpses of that, like when her and Corey brought Connor back to life, and these moments here, and it's just like, it's so, I'm not gonna say it's wasted. I'm just saying that I would have preferred a little bit more emphasis on that instead of in this episode we see something like this occur where she brings an inanimate object to life. Like, how are we going to explore that necessarily? Like, that's going to have to go into season 2 when that could have been a storyline that was going on while the Deathstroke stuff was happening.
Yes.
But honestly, Rachel and Guard kind of just disappeared from the main plot line for like 2 to 4 episodes. Which, once again, if you have a season or you have a short season like that, you can't afford to do that with characters and then try to bring something back in the home stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, they're just adding unnecessary storylines. I didn't really understand what it was throughout the whole episode, and then that towards the end, it was like, it's kind of cool to see that she was helping more than just that one person. But like, why? That was my question with the storyline. It was a lot of cool things to see. Great to see the gargoyle using her, understanding her own powers, being nice and everything, being able to control her powers. But why?
The problem also for me is the fact that the Titans cartoon, which was a Raven-driven storyline, was so good.
Yes.
It was so good, especially when it comes to the concept of who Trigon is and how it plays out and the world which it lays out. And young angst. And it had a lot of that. We get that they're trying to create young angst. But we have to care about these characters. So please let us care. We do so much, which is why we talk so much about Titans. We are Titans super fans, but it is our job to point out the things that are not always the smartest things to do. We have a special segment. It's called That Was Stupid Die. What is the name of the segment?
That wasn't very smart.
That wasn't very smart. No! It is an action in the show that just wasn't
very
so
smart.
Intelligent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff?
Mine got to be Donna in this episode. I just didn't understand what she was doing. She kept calling Dick, and like you said, if someone that should be wanting to talk to you is not answering, maybe he's in trouble, one. Maybe you go to the tower like not 24 hours later. There were so many things she could have did. She was my dummy of the day.
Yeah, I was gonna say Donna, but I guess I'll also jump to Connor a little bit. I get that he's a month old, but the fact that Mercy came in guns blazing and everything, and then he suddenly believes that she knows where Eve is, I just was like, I don't want to say naive because, like I said, he's a month old, but it was kind of like he's also supposed to be like super smart, and he kind of, in a way, inadvertently sacrificed Guard too.
I think she might know where Eve is. Yeah. I think that Donna was right to not just go back to the Titans Tower. I think both the things are very plausible. I even agree that maybe Deathstroke shouldn't have been in this episode somehow for some reason, even though he's the main antagonist. I have no idea.
And there's 3 episodes left.
I'm going to say that the stupid AF moment for me was the fact that Rachel, not knowing a situation, meeting someone for 5 minutes, killed their father or guardian or whoever it was after this person actually showed no actual physical violence towards this girl. I don't care what it said. If that was the case, then a lot of parents would be dead. I don't know what the situation is. We don't know anything about this girl, what she's done, where she's been, why this man would have come in there acting like that. We don't know any of that. And honestly, we got half a second of an argument that didn't tell us an entire context of an argument. And then Rachel sent a gargoyle to maul.
It wasn't intentional, though. She didn't do it on purpose.
Oh, she didn't do it on purpose.
No.
You don't think so?
She didn't do it on purpose. Maybe subconsciously her brain wanted to kill him or something, but she walked away.
She did. She walked. Oh, wait. No, she chased them down, used her power to lift him on the wall, had him strangleholded against the wall, dropped him, had his legs broken almost. He started walking away out of fear. The young lady who was with him, instead of going, wait, you are Satan, goes, wow, that's cool. Come help more of our friends kill their parents. And then had the gargoyle unintentionally, subconsciously, or however so, kill the dad. I think that might have been the dumb moment. What do we call this segment? Let's talk some news and gossip, shall we?
AfterBuzz TV News.
Chauncey, give it to us straight.
Well, there's been some gossip for the last 24 hours when it comes to Titans. The informant, leaker, one of the leakers online, and a lot of people know about, Vol in 070 has been making some controversy in terms of response, because originally, a day ago, he said that the main villain for season 3 would be Lex Luthor. Now, it's been semi-confirmed, or the strong gossip is that it's going to be Blackfire. That they couldn't necessarily get the permission to use Lex Luthor or his sister, which was the two they were trying to do, and that they're going with Blackfire instead. So we can look forward to some intergalactical Corey focus next season.
Glad that it's Corey. Yep. Kind of sad it's not Lex Luthor.
I didn't need that.
I didn't need it. I had enough botched Luthors and Supergirl. I'm good.
Well, we shall see how it plays out. So much for that. Let's get into some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
2 predictions each. Let's start with Chauncey.
Okay. Well, I think next episode, I think we're going to see Corey again. I know that's very vague, but I think Corey's going to help break Dick out of prison.
Oh, we're going to see Corey again. Good.
Corey's going to help break Dick out of prison, and I think her and Rachel are going to link back up somehow.
I was very specifically vague. Please, John.
You know what?
I think I'm gonna stick with my thought on Gar. I think this is gonna open up more not more powers, but he's gonna be able to use it in a different way. He might be able to change to a different animal. That's what I'm hoping for that. And for next week's episode, I am thinking along the same lines. I think it's gonna be some girl power taking out the guards and maybe just showing up to Dig like, dog, we need you.
Interesting. In my predictions in Chauncey faction, I'm gonna predict that Dick Grayson, something happens to him, and then I also think that the other Titans will be on the show again. Does that sound like a Chauncey prediction?
I feel like it does. I think it's on brand.
No, on my end, I'm going to say that this is not the end of Connor as we know, and we will see Connor revamp and, in a way, be somehow the salvation that Gar needs. And I think that Gar, and I agree with Jeff on this, is that Gar is going to be the centerfold of bringing all the Titans back by being the voice of reason that they have not heard thus far, because he believes in the Titans so much, and they've been building that up. That is what I hope. Finally, I'm going to have to say Deathstroke is going to be coming out there, and he's not going to be happy with this Return of the Titans. But until then, where can people find you if they want the Return of the Panel? All the way, Jeff.
Yeah, if you guys want to talk superheroes or anything, all that, you guys can find me at Jeff Will Jr. on social media platforms.
That's who he is, to his right.
Yeah, you can find me at Rotten Tomatoes and also on my self-named YouTube channel, Twisted Woman CKR.
That is self-named, and it says so much. And of course, I am Tehran, literally, and I am Tehran all across the board. IAMTEHRAN. And find me hosting and paneling on a slew of other AfterBuzz after shows, because all of your TV shows are my favorite TV shows too. We will be talking more Titans, and hopefully in the way we're used to and accustomed to, in a good light, except for Chauncey. But until then, we will see all of you next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.